Welcome back to Search with Sean. So a quick introduction about myself and the channel, and then we'll crack on. So my name is Sean, as you expect, and I've been working in digital marketing now for quite a few years, focusing on SEO last few years. I love SEO, very much one of my passions, and I'm currently the SEO manager at Macmillan Cancer Support, which is, I love my job, so that helps. It's a great cause. And if you want to know more about me, then obviously add me on LinkedIn, and you'll find me there and everything I do. So this is slightly different to the videos that I've shot so far, which have been focused around, SEO news and AI news. I'm going to do these every so often, and it is early days. I'm going to keep trying to say and a lot less than I have been. There you go. But I will. Yeah, it's going to happen. I'm going to stop saying that. So this is one of those new videos, and it's all going to be all about a certain subject in SEO or AI. And this one will be focused around structured data, which is something I'm, have been for a few years, but looking more into trying to work with my dev team, my team in general, to implement this across the site in different areas. Obviously, it's so vast that you could be there all day trying to add it, but it's all about picking the right spots, which we'll go over in this presentation. So I won't hold up any more, and we'll go straight into the slides. And there will be some reading, but hopefully you'll find it educational, informative, and leave comments if you have any questions, or maybe I've got something wrong. I like to think I've read a lot into this and done a lot of digging, but obviously I don't know everything. So feel free to leave comments and suggestions on how you do it. Be very interested here. Here is what we're going to go over. So what is it generally? Why is it important? The benefits, how to implement it, structured data versus schema, something, I've been searching around what people have been looking around this topic, and this came up quite a lot. So I thought I'll cover it in this presentation. What does Google say about it? Common mistakes and frequently asked questions. So we're going to go over all these in this presentation. And like I say, if you got any further questions, then please do drop me a comment or contact me on LinkedIn. So initially, what is it? So structured data is a way of organizing and labeling information on a website, so search engines like Google can easily understand it. Think of it as providing extra clues to help search engines understand what your content is all about. I think that's a pretty straightforward explanation, and hopefully it starts us off on a good foot going forward here in this presentation. Why is it important? So, I mean, I think there's probably more ways it could be important, but this is the top kind of three main ones why it's important. So it can help search visibility. Structured data helps search engines understand your content better. That's in principle the main point around it, and to help it, not only understand it, but in a better formatted way, how it's organized. This can lead to your website appearing in special search result features like rich snippets, knowledge panels, and carousels, and so on. It can enhance the user experience. So when search engines display rich results, users get a more useful information directly from the search page. For example, if you search for a recipe, you might see ratings, cooking times, and ingredients right in your search results. So obviously this is, for a while, for like a good few years, the route that Bing and Google have been going down, as we see with feature snippets, and it's getting quite, Bing, it can be a bit overpowering sometimes with the amount of features they have on there, but it is obviously something they really want to go down, and will continue to increase click-through rates, or CTR, rich snippets, and enhanced search results are more eye-catching and informative, leading to more people clicking on your website. So obviously some, we've seen this, is it might also lead to less people clicking on your site because they've got the information they need directly on the search result. But either way, your brand and your visibility will be getting out there more, hopefully. And also, implementing structured data is crucial in the age of AI-powered bots and AI overviews, as it enhances content understanding, visibility in search results, and optimization for voice search, is ensuring your website remains competitive and relevant. So yeah, obviously we know the direction that with AI and AI overviews, and the way that these bots and so on will read websites will change, and they obviously will prefer structured information compared to unstructured. So that's a given, but something to consider. So what are the benefits? Obviously, there probably are more than this as well, but these are some. So improved SEO. Generally, structured data can boost your website's SEO, search engine optimization. For those who don't know, which I'd be surprised if you're watching this and you didn't know that abbreviation, but better SEO means high rankings in search results, making it easier for people to find your site. We all know that, but it is good, good practice to have your data structured. Goes without saying. Better targeting, so providing detailed information about your content. Structured data helps search engines match your site with relevant queries. This ensures that your site is shown to people who actually are interested in your content. And voice search. There's been studies in the last few years around voice search, and it's increasing in popularity. Obviously, all our devices are hooked up to this now, and pushing for more voice-related searches. So it'll probably keep growing. Structured data is crucial for voice search optimization. It helps virtual assistants like Google Assistant understand and retrieve your content accurately when users are asking questions verbally. And recently, Google published a case study that shows how structured data and following best practices improved discovery and brought more search traffic. The case study was about the use of video structured data, and it was based on a case study around an Indonesian publisher. So I put a link to that in the description, and you can read that. It was published by Search Engine Journal. It's quite an interesting read. Obviously, it's only one example. I must admit, I've seen results myself in my own, my own workspace, seeing results when we've implemented structured data, getting improved results. You can't always say it was just the structured data that did that. Obviously, you need good content, and you need other basic SEO to be implemented, and other things, other channels to support. But it obviously helps, and I have seen that, versus pages that have no structured data, similar pages versus those who do and still have the same sort of optimizations and search demand and so on. So I do think it does help. And this is just a quote from this case study. Within a year of implementing video object markup, the company saw improvements in impressions and clicks on their video pages, while the number of videos that the company published in Q1 2022 to Q1 in 2023 increased by 30%, and in video object markup made their videos eligible for display in various places on Google. This led to an increase of 3 times video impressions and close to 2 times video clicks on Google search. So yeah, it's interesting. And I'll put this, like I say, the case study will be in the description if you want to read more on that. So how to implement. So to implement structured data on your website, choose the appropriate data type, generate the code using tools like Google's Structured Data Markup Helper or AI tools like ChatGPT. There's quite a few good models on ChatGPT if you have the paid version. If you don't, I think you need a paid version, to be fair, to access these kind of models. And there's one by Amanda Jordan, which is very good in recommending what type of structured data schema that you need or you should use on a certain page. But there are others, but I have put a link in the description to that particular one. And yep, you add it to your HTML, and then you can test it using Google's rich results test, or you can use Chrome extensions like SEO Pro extension to ensure it's correct and properly marked up. There are probably other ways, but yeah, these are the ones that I would suggest. There's additional tips. So ensure your structured data is accurate and matches the content on your page. Avoid overloading your page with too much structured data that isn't relevant. You know, you want the bots and the crawlers to come in and have an easy job, you know, properly understanding what the page is about, what the objective of the page is, and so on. You don't want them overloaded with information. It's going to be, there just be no point, and you're just wasting your time doing it. Stay up to date with Google's guidelines on structured data to ensure compliance. And yeah, Google changes how they, you know, how they change the goalpost, move the goalpost all the time, don't they? So you have to be on the ball with. I don't know. I don't know what football puns must be because the Euros, but yeah, just stay up to date with what Google are looking for with structured data, and there's always new sort of structured data sort of news coming out all the time, new forms of schema and so on. There's been some recently that have come out, so you know, stay up to date with that. You can do that with following and getting emails from things like Search Engine Journal, and now I'm sure you'll find all the latest news on them in those particular, you know, the usual publications in SEO. And obviously watch the SEO news videos that I put out. Well, I'm hoping to do them every couple of weeks because, you know, there's not really enough news to do every week. But if things change, I might change that. But it'll probably be every couple of weeks. And just looking at structured data versus schema. So I thought it was worth putting because, you know, there's a lot of terminology in this field, in this particular topic. And sometimes you think they're one and the same. And obviously they overlap a lot. You need one for the other usually. So it's I thought it'd just be worth putting a description of both on there. So structured data is the practice of formatting data so it can easily be understood by search engines. Where schema, specifically schema.org, which is the main site you go to for, you know, all those different particular schema types, and it explains what they are, how to implement, so on, what to include, and so on, is a vocabulary or set of guidelines used to create structured data. So example is, if structured data is the overall concept of organizing information, schema.org provides the specific tags and formats to use within that concept. Hopefully that sort of clears that one up for now. So what does Google say about all this? Well, as you can see on the screen, Google doesn't guarantee that the use of structured data will, when you use it, it will not show up in the search results. Even if your page is marked up correctly according to the rich results test, it still may not show up. So, you know, you can't, it doesn't guarantee anything. It's just a really best practice way of doing things, but it doesn't guarantee results. And here are some common reasons why Google say that it may not show up. So using structured data enables a feature to be present. It doesn't guarantee that it will be present. The Google algorithm tailors search results to create what it thinks is the best search experience for the user. Depending on many variables, including search history, location, and device type, in some case, it might determine that one feature is more appropriate than the other, or even that a text-based result is best. The structured data is not representative of the main content on the page, or it potentially is misleading. The structured data is incorrect in a way that rich results test was not able to catch. And that's the thing. These tools, although they're great, some, you know, the main ones you'll find links in the description to as well. they may not catch everything. Not one tool is going to get everything. And we've seen that with any tool we use in life, or especially in SEO or marketing. We know that there isn't just one amazing golden ticket tool that does everything that's 100% correct. It's just not found. So, it might be the case that it still has problems. The content referred to by the structured data is hidden from the user. That's an interesting one. And the page doesn't meet the guidelines for structured data described on this page. The guidelines for a specific structured data feature, the search essentials, or the content policies for Google search. So yeah, just about guidelines. So I put that also in the description. You'll find all the links to the guidelines from Google. So if you want to read through that before you implement, or you're having problems with structured data not really working for you, then it might be worth reading through those guidelines again. So common mistakes. And this is what I found online, looking through different articles and personal experience, and also looking at forums. So I look for a few forums to find these, and these are some of them. So incorrect schema type. They're using the wrong schema type for the content. Obviously, Google think it's irrelevant and would just ignore it. So you can refer to schema.org to select the appropriate type. For example, article or product or event. It should be obvious, but you never know. And also, like I say, those ChatGPT models can also help guide you. Incomplete or inaccurate data. Providing incomplete or inaccurate data, well, in your structured data, they might just see it and think, well, there's not enough information there for us to even use it, so we'll just ignore it. And perhaps your competitors have it a better marked up page, and they'll choose to go with that one. So, if you're going to do it, you might as well do it properly and spend a good amount of time on it. Not matching visible content. So if it doesn't match the content on the page, and we mentioned earlier, then again, that might be ignored. Overloaded with unnecessary data, so including too much structured data that is irrelevant or excessive. So like with anything SEO, don't go mad and just overload it with information, because as we know, with keyword stuffing and so on, that may not always be the best solution. Not updating it, if you do have an event or so on, product, you change the price or availability, or the event changes, date, or so on. So tickets, or it's sold out, or whatever it is. If you're not updating the structured data, you're telling Google one thing and they're reading on the content another. So again, they're going to choose to ignore it, and they won't take it into consideration. Ignoring warnings and errors. So if it does come up in the testing tools, but you still think, oh, well, I'm going to just roll with it, it probably won't show up or be used. Using multiple formats incorrectly, so mixing different structured data formats, that could be a problem. You should stick to one format for consistency and ease of management. Misusing review markup, so adding review markup to content that isn't a review. There's been obviously a few in recent months, last year, things about reviews and stuff, updates. So you don't want to mislead Google in any way around this. And not testing implementation. So, always test your structured data using tools such as I mentioned before, Google's rich results test, or the schema markup validator, or, as I say, Chrome extensions that have this feature. So sorry, I just before I skip ahead, let's just go back there because I had a few other tips for successful implementation. So as I said before, follow guidelines. Again, I put in description, but there's, the Google guidelines for structured data, and also schema.org have their own set of guidelines. So I put those in. And use tools, make sure you use those tools and try and use a range of tools, not just one, to make sure that everything's in the right place and structured correctly. Stay up to date. So, not only, as I said, keep track of the news around structured data and Google's policies and guidelines, but also make sure your markup is correct. If you've got it on events or things that change, then make sure that you keep a note of that. And when that information changes, you update the structured data. Obviously, if it's more sort of evergreen sort of content that doesn't really change that much, whether it's medical information or whatever, you might not need to ever update that. But if it is things like events, then you probably will. So I skipped ahead too much earlier, but now we're on frequently asked questions. So these are just ones that I've had a look around the internet and forums and such, and just seen what kind of questions people are asking. I also looked on people also ask at websites like that just to see, and these are the questions that have come up. So how many schema types are there? So as of now, 2024, there is around 806 types of schema. So there's pretty much a schema for everything, whether that's events or recipes. It could be authors, obviously people. So it's definitely worth looking around and see what's there on the schema.org. These schemas are organized in a hierarchy and cover a wide range of entities and relationships. How to choose the right type. So identify your content type, first of all. Determine the primary focus of your content. There could be products, articles, local business information. Refer to schema.org. So visit, as I say, the website and find what the most relevant types of structured data are for your content. And it will give you descriptions. It explains the types of schema, what kind of pages it could sit on, what kind of things it can include. And it should give you enough information to work out which ones you should be using. And you can use multiple schemas on pages, but like we said before, don't overload it and make sure it's totally relevant. Consider user intent. So think about what information users need and how structured data can enhance their user experience in search results. So, if it is an event, people will find it interesting to know how, when it is, how long it is. Could be anything from, ticket information to pictures to, I can't think of the time for now, but you just think about as you use, what you would like to see if you type in that whatever the page is about, what the kind of queries that you expect your user to put in, especially around, if it is like a person, what kind of things you expect to see, their credentials, their social media links, and so on. So just if it's an article, who the author is, when it was written, what the topics are, that kind of thing. Just use a common sense, I guess, and like I say, schema.org does kind of point you in the right direction anyway. And use multiple types if necessary. You can combine different types of structured data on a single page, as I said, if it contains various content types. So if it's an event page with reviews, you can obviously have, the event schema. And there are all sorts of types of event schemas as well. There's not just event schema. You can have different types. It could be a sports event, for example, and it could have reviews. So again, the same with products. You have product type schemas and you have review-based schemas. So it's worth, and it could be on a piece of content. So you could have a medical-based schema with an author-based schema. So it's worth thinking in that way as well. So some of other examples, a blog about cooking could use article for each blog post and recipe for individual recipes. An online store, as I said, you'd use product schema for product pages, offer schema for price details and reviews, again, review schema. And a local restaurant could use the local business schema for business details and menu-based schema for menu items. So again, it could be used on loads of different ways. Do all search engines use structured data? So most major search engines like Google, Bing, Yahoo utilize structured data to some extent, probably in all different ways, probably not all the same. However, smaller and older search engines and directories may not rely on structured data as extensively. So, but obviously it's mainly Google, unless, they have such a big chunk of the market that really that's the main focus. How long does it take to work? And this is a typical SEO response. I mean, we have to say it, but it depends. Implemented schema, structured data, you'll start showing results within a few days or several weeks, depending on various factors such as frequency of search engine crawls, the type of structured data used, and how competitive the market is. It is vital to consider where you put it and how, because it may never have any impacts. So that's why it depends, because it may be there it might impact things in a few days, but it may never impact things. And like Google said previously, it's no guarantee that that it's going to be implemented. So that's to be considered. You're going to get people saying, well, is it even worth doing because there's no guaranteed results? And that's a good question, but I honestly think it is. I think it's just best practice to organize your information, especially if it's really important information. So even if you can't showcase the results, if that's straight away or ever, it's best practice. And I think that's always a good route to go down. You've got more chance of getting results that way than not. So that's how I feel. I think it's always worth doing. Obviously not across the board, but on targeted areas that you want to show up for these kind of things. And you want Google to read and understand better. And finally, and if you hear my belly rumble, I do apologize. It's lunchtime nearly, and I am hungry, so we'll be looking to eat after this. How to track results. There's several ways you can do this, including manually. Obviously, you can just search yourself. But if you want to, there are many SEO tools such as SEMrush and Advanced Web Ranking that have dedicated features that focus on SERP features where you can monitor progress both on a website and keyword level. So, depends if you've got those tools or not, but obviously you can just do it manually. But obviously I expect you to have at least one of those tools. You can have SEMrush has free options and so on. So worth looking into. So that's pretty much it from my roundup around structured data on websites. Hopefully you found it helpful. Hopefully it's answered a few of your questions. If you have more questions, then please feel free to leave a comment or contact me on LinkedIn. It is something I'm rolling out with my dev team quite often. So I'm learning. Every day's a school day, and I'm learning. So also, you got any further information, I'd love to read it. So please do send that across to me as well. If you've got any case studies, especially, I'd love to read those, because it's always good. When you come across these kind of case studies, it's good to keep them in your back pocket when people do ask those questions. Is it worth it? And you say, well, yeah, because look. And luckily, I've got some internally that showcase it. And obviously, there are ones coming out in publications that help back up the argument. So hopefully, if you've liked the video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. As I say, every couple of weeks we are bringing up SEO and AI news related videos. I've also got some interviews lined up, which I'm really excited about. I've just started the channel, but got some really, really good interviews coming up, which I think you'll find very, very interesting. So please subscribe and you'll be the first to see those. And also the news. I've got so much lined up for the next news video. There's so much happening in the SEO world at the moment, and AI. So very, very interesting stuff. So please like and subscribe, share. I need to, it really, really help to get this channel seen. And I really would appreciate it, and appreciate all the shares and likes and subscribes so far. It's been really great to see. I really do appreciate it. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, and speak to you soon.